Hello and good morning from the DMAC offices. This is Jessica Saravia, the BPKC chair, and I am back with another installment of our YouTube video series. Last time, if you didn't watch the first video, I had a cliffhanger about our presentation at the conference in Boston. And we talked there about restoration and renovations of historic buildings and building performance related to those renovations. And I discussed our office, actually, which you can see behind me here. And the fact that this office doesn't have any insulation in these walls. You can see what's happening here. And I wanted to follow up on that a little bit for those of you that didn't make it to the conference and discuss why it looks like the cobbler's children have no shoes, but talk a little bit about why this is a very common problem and it's really difficult to tackle in some cases. And this is going to be sort of a thing we need to prioritize in coming years, because a lot of our building stock that will be around in 2050 that we want to decarbonize and reduce our footprint for greenhouse gas emissions already exists. You know, it's something like 80% or maybe even more than that. So renovations are going to be a big part of that, obviously. So here, let me give you a little explanation. Our office is actually in Evanston, Illinois, which is just north of Chicago, in an old Masonic temple. And you can see the existing masonry and brickwork, which we, of course, wanted to preserve and keep because it's beautiful. But that presents some challenges when it comes to insulation. Because the best way to insulate an existing building that's triple-wythe masonry is to do it from the outside, because you can make it continuous. But if you're not going to do it from the outside, you got to do it from the inside. So let's go in there. On the exterior of a building, it's easy to just cover everything in ephes or some kind of wrap it in insulation and then put a rain screen over it. And but the problem with that is obviously you lose all the existing, sort of historic character of the building if that's something that you want to keep. And so then, you move to the inside. Great. Well, the problem with that is that if you insulate from the inside, it's obviously not going to be continuous because you have to stop at the existing structure, right? So fine, that's a problem that we can look at. However, the cheapest way to do that is to put a stud with some fuzzy fiberglass on the inside, right? With some kind of facer, and then drywall on the inside of that. The problem with that is that right now, new masonry walls, the way we build them, are so different than these historic multi-wythe masonry walls. Historic mass walls like this manage water by soaking up water and then drying out. They can dry out to the outside or to the inside because they're sort of vapor open in both directions. And you have a continuous kind of gradient of temperature from the warm inside to the cold outside. Well, in cold climates, when you insulate on the inside of the inside wythe of masonry, now you have made the inside wythe of masonry cold. Let me show you a diagram that explains that a little better.
On the left is the uninsulated wall, so the exterior cold air keeps the outside face of masonry cold. Inside warm air makes the inside face of masonry warm. It's fine, dew point is somewhere in the middle. The wall can dry out either way. On the right, though, the inside warm air is getting bounced back into the room by the insulation, and that means the inside face of masonry is cold. Problem with that is now that vapor drives is going to move that warm air to find any nooks and crannies or imperfections in your insulation facing and let that warm air get to the backside cold of your masonry, and then you get condensation within your wall where you can't see it. So your best bet is to use spray foam, close-off foam, so that your face of insulation is vapor closed, at least airtight. And then even better than that would be to pull the stud off the wall and have continuous close-off foam along all of the masonry.
In addition to insulation, of course, we needed to deal with a few other things. At this building, when we bought it, it was leaking, right? You know, it's like you can see the efflorescence on the inside of the building, but you can also see like where the roof line is behind the parapet just from the damage to the you can see it on the outside of the parapet at this point. It's a barrel curve and there's gutters on either side, so you can kind of tell exactly where the most damage was before we replaced the roof. So if you can't control bulk water, there's no point in trying to control, you know, water vapor at that point. You know, you've already lost the battle. So we did those things. It's just that now we're in for the tough sort of detail part. So we're getting there. It's just, you know, baby steps, and it's tough to do one thing at a time. Just like every renovation, right? It's like you have to kind of do the big things before you can do the small things. So we're working on it.
Here on the inside, you can see the results of those roof leaks as well. The fluorescence has come into the inside of the building. So it's a tough job. We're doing baby steps, but as any architect will tell you, renovations are not for the weak of heart.